Hey folks, it is Thursday night, 9:04 p.m. Moon is probably in day 4, but it's settled back behind the mountains. I've got high thin clouds. Most of the clouds have been generated by local mountains. We just had a meteor pass in the Cascades where the mountains are evaporating a bit in the late August sun and pushing humidity of the upper atmosphere cold as it is, and it formulates clouds. So we've got high thins tonight, but regardless of that, we're having a nice view of a very expansive open cluster in Vulpecula against a very deep background sky. NGC 6800 is about 5 arc minutes in size with some 20 stars. The brightest are magnitude 10. It's a class 3-2, widely spread out with moderate variation in magnitude. 3,300 light years distant. We're at right ascension 19 hours 27 minutes 7 seconds with a declination of plus 25 degrees 8 minutes 24 seconds. And the goal for tonight is just to range up and down studies that are approaching culmination of overhead and to the deep south, down to about minus 30 degrees in declination. So we'll be ranging from minus 30 to about plus 45 degrees, some 75 degrees of sky. Like last night, we're using 10-second exposure times. I'm allowing the histogram to automatically determine how it's going to respond in terms of a light curve. What we're seeing here is NGC 6802, also an open cluster, much more compact and obviously a cluster. I'll give you the data on it in a second. Interestingly enough, in the evolution of the cosmos, open clusters are the last types of stellar formations to form. Long before, and typically they formed within about the last 500 million years, depending upon what part of the Milky Way they formed in. They soon dissipate into space due to gravitational tides. NGC 6802 is an open cluster in Vulpecula, the Fox. Total magnitude of all of its 50 plus stars is magnitude 8.8. It's about 3.2 arc minutes in size, and its brightest stars are magnitude 12.9. It's a class 3-1, which I do believe means it's fairly compact, but it's got disparate magnitudes. Have to look in on that one. 3,700 light years distant. Right ascension 19 hours 30 minutes 35 seconds with a declination of plus 20 degrees 15 minutes and 42 seconds. Okay, here we're diverging from the open cluster line to a planetary nebula in Aquila. Magnitude 12.4, 63 by 50 arc seconds in size. Its central star is quite visible, magnitude 14.2, 5,600 light years distant. It's at 19 hours 31 minutes 35 seconds with a declination of plus 9 degrees 13 minutes 31 seconds. Clearly, we need to do some e-zoomage on this planetary nebula. This is 50% e-zoom and roughly equivalent to 150x or 1 millimeter exit pupil. I'm going to push it now to 300x. We're going to get a very nice view of this planetary, but unfortunately, like last night, I seem to not have the very best focus on the scope, although I spent quite a bit of time with the twirling knobs before we started at 9:03 in the evening. Okay, here we are seeing a deep south globular cluster in Sagittarius. It's gone a little outside my work envelope. We're at minus 30 degrees 57 minutes 44 seconds with a right ascension of 19 hours 39 minutes 59 seconds. This particular globular cluster is in Sagittarius, aka 6809 is also known as Messier 55. Magnitude 6.3, largish, 19 arc minutes. Brightest stars are magnitude 11.2. It's a class 11 which means the core isn't all that particularly condensed. However, this cluster is 17,000 light years distant. So, a very fine view for being that far south in the sky. Very pleased with that on a night such as this. Here we are seeing a galaxy in Aquila. Magnitude 11.2, fairly large. Actually, a little bit large for a 11th magnitude galaxy. 3.5 by 3.5 arc minutes. Spiral with a bar, capital B, on the BC side, which means 2.5 times removed from lenticular. It also has a ring to it. 70 million light years distant puts it at about 50 to 60,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 1942.40 with a declination of minus 10 degrees, 19 minutes, 26 seconds. Let's do a little bit of zoomage on this galaxy. See the core, we get a hint of the frontier there. Probably the poor seeing conditions, as well as being dark to the south, which I'm going to now make a slight adjustment to the histogram to improve its presentation. There we go. Hopefully I'll nail something down here. Nope, I should have just left it. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so that was NGC 6814. Okay, now we've gone deep south again to NGC 6816, a galaxy in Sagittarius. Magnitude 13.4, 1.7 by 1.1 arc minutes, lenticular spiral. 275 million light years distant means this one's probably somewhere around 100,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 1944.2 with a declination of minus 28 degrees, 24 minutes and 4 seconds. Things have been drifting off in this direction. We should look for our galaxy to be right about there. This appears star-like, but it needs to be confirmed. Notice how bright the background sky is due to being such a deep south location. Okay, here I'm thinking we're having a view of NGC 6818, Planetary Nebula in Sagittarius, and the only reason I can tell it's a planetary is by the coloration. It's magnitude 10, 22 by 15 arc seconds in size, with a magnitude 15 central star, 6,700 light years distant. At right ascension, 19 hours, 43 minutes, 57 seconds, and a southerly declination of 14 degrees, 9 minutes, 10 seconds. We're seeing some light entering the optical tube assembly there, and I'm going to run the magnification up to see if we can get any, to 300x, to see if we can get any resolution on this NGC 6818 planetary. There does appear to be a star in it, embedded in it anyway. Here we should be seeing a galaxy in Aquila the Eagle, NGC 6821. It is magnitude 13.1, 1.3 by 1.1 arc minute. Most 13th magnitude galaxies are about that size. Spiral with a bar and lowercase cd, which means woo. 3.5 times removed from lenticular, which means it'll have a BV delta of about 0.6, 0.5. 68 million light years distant makes this quite small, maybe 25,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 1944.24 with a declination of minus 6 degrees, 50 minutes and 3 seconds. Not sure we're getting much of a view. Stars look pretty sharp. This galaxy is present anywhere. It's something hinted at right here and there. I'm not quite sure how. See? The histogram is playing out. Ah, okay. Now that revealed it a little bit. Here's our galaxy. Histogramage has helped. Well, anyway, that's our view of NGC 6821 at some over 300x. Well, this was supposed to be Barnard's galaxy 6822, but we're getting far too much light pollution in its general direction. I'm going to move on. We have a nice sprinkling of stars in NGC 6834, open cluster in Cygnus. Cumulative magnitude is 7.85, arc minutes in size, some 50 stars, the brightest of which are magnitude 9.6. Bright ascension 1952-12 with a declination of plus 29 degrees, 24 minutes, and 30 seconds. It's a class 2-2, so a middling open cluster in terms of magnitudinal variation and density. Our next view is a very nice edge-on galaxy, NGC 6835. It's in Sagittarius, magnitude 12.5, 2.4 by 0.7 arc minutes, spiral with a bar and a lowercase a. Once removed from lenticular and only as a spiral, it only has two spiral arms, capital B. 71 million light years distant, puts it at about 50,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension 19 hours, 54 minutes, 32 seconds, and a southerly declination of 12 degrees, 34 minutes, and 3 seconds. Does bear a little zoomage. So here we are at 150x, and here we jump to 300. Very nice little slice of a galaxy, NGC 6835. We're seeing a rather disparate globular cluster in Sagittarius. Magnitude, it's also known, this is NGC 6838, aka Messier 71. Magnitude 8.3, 6.1 arc minutes in size. Brightest stars are magnitude 12.1. It is 12,000 light years distant. Right ascension 1953-46 with a northerly declination of 18 degrees 46 minutes 41 seconds. Let's do a little walkthrough on the zoomage and stop at 300x. I would say this is pretty much on the verge of being an open cluster as far as most globular clusters are concerned. All right, we should be seeing a planetary nebula in Vulpecula, magnitude 13.1, 53 by 48 arc seconds. So less than 1 arc minute in size. Magnitude 14.5, central star, 4,500 light years distant. Right ascension 1955-02, a declination of plus 29 degrees, 17 minutes, 20 seconds. I am not picking it out particularly well. I'm not seeing anything of particular color or extension, even as we press to 100x. Peculiar. Well, I do believe sky conditions are getting poorer, which probably explains why we weren't able to see the last nor this planetary nebula in Aquila. NGC 6852 is a magnitude 11.4, 28 arc seconds in size with a magnitude 17.9 central star, which should be almost detectable, 8,900 light years distant. We're at right ascension 20 hours, 39 seconds with a declination of 1 degree, 43 minutes, 41 seconds. Let's have a look at the dumbbell planetary before we bow out to get a sense of the conditions. Ooh-wee. Yeah, this explains it. This is a very poor but dumbbell-shaped version of Messier 27. Typically, we should be seeing some very sharp frontiers here to the north and the south poles of the planetary nebular star, plus the football shape extending off in this direction, well conceived, and a little bit of a bump heading out in this direction from the planetary nebula. We know this is the north-south pole, spinning axis. We know this is the equatorial pole. This is not a particularly good view and explains why our views have been degenerating over the last 5 to 10 minutes. And with this, I'm about to say, carpe